Hi, it's Jane, and on WOTWIP and Coffee. I don't have coffee, I just have water. Been craving water lately. I am knitting today. I am working on my sleeves for the knitted comfy sweater. I think that's the name of it. By, is it So Mama? Not sure. But anyway, I am working on that today. And so I am on a purl row, and we all know how much I love to purl. Not. Do not care for it, although I do use the Norwegian purl, so do find that interesting. I did decide that I need to work on this because at this rate, that's all I have on the sleeves. They're never going to get done. So I do need to work on it, and I will be working on it a little bit more in the next coming weeks. Did get the blanket finished, and I'll show that to you on Monday. And I decided just to do a single crochet around as a border and leave it at that. When I went and I was doing it in the back loop, I did not like the way it looked. So, and maybe it looks different if you're using that, that big bulky yarn, blanket yarns, instead of using the chunky that I was using. So, I'm happy with it. I'm fine. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, and yeah, had to go out today and had a Bible study this morning, early. Had to get the oil change, and then I had a senior luncheon. So, and of course when I got the oil change, I don't know what they had done with the, the screen that's right behind the steering wheel. But I was like, okay, I know that I have that on there, but why is that screen showing up? And it was the screen that just shows the 4 tires. And I was like, that's not normal. Where's my normal stuff? My mileage and how many miles or how many hours I've been on the road, that kind of stuff with this gas, this tank of gas. So, of course, I had started to go back in and ask them, and then I thought, no, let's see if I can figure it out. And yes, I did figure it out. But I always find it funny because this place where I go, and I go there all the time, they always ask me the engine size. I don't know what the engine size is. I mean, for crying out loud, it's a Ford Escape. I got no clue. So, what do I normally do? I just choose one, and I tell them that when I go in. I said, I have no clue what size engine it is. Does that really make a difference when it's an oil change? Probably not. You still put the same amount of quarts of oil in. Still put an oil filter in, so what's the deal? So anyway, and they were asking me which package I wanted. I said, I've been coming here for years. You don't have it in your computer what the last one was? I mean, that was less than 6 months ago. No, doesn't keep that. I said, now wait a minute. It doesn't keep that, but you send me a reminder by text to let me know that I have an oil change that's due, and you send me email. But you don't keep that in your system? I don't know. I had to choose a package, and I probably chose the wrong one. And of course, I'd have to go back and look in I've got all that stuff in the car. Thomas used to always put them in the books in the car, you know, with the manual, so you knew what was done last time. So I still do that, and then just clean them out, bring them in, put them in the files. But, you know, sometimes I'm like, goodness gracious, you got all my information, address, name, telephone number, social security number, whole 9 yards. I don't know why you can't keep that information too, but whatever. It's just crazy. And here, we're getting another dose of snow. And they say it's an inch. Was it a coating to an inch? Well, it has been snowing all day. And like I said, I was out most of the day. So, of course, coming back in, my road is crappy. It's nice, slick ice covered. They did put cinders down, but they haven't done anything about salt or anything. And I know sometimes what they do is they put that down later in the afternoon so that tomorrow morning it'll actually work a little bit better. So I'm wondering if that's what they're going to do. And I have to come over a bridge over the river. It was icy. It's just a joy, I tell you, just a joy. And I laugh because I'm like, I don't think that part of the driveway in front of the garage is ever going to be clear. I'm pretty sure it will be someday. And then I'll be complaining about going out and having to work on the bamboo. But yeah, it's always a lot of fun, winter, isn't it? And yesterday, if you didn't know, was called Hootie Hoo Day. And Hootie Hoo Day is when you go out in spring clothing, go outside in the weather. Yes, you can wear a jacket or a coat, but the whole idea is you have spring clothes on. Go outside and you yell into the wind, Hootie Hoo. That's supposed to bring on spring a lot quicker. So I was in a group yesterday and we did that. That was a lot of fun because we were all being silly. So, you know, if you don't know, keep in mind February the 20th is supposedly Hootie Hoo Day, and you know, from now on February the 20th, you should go out and yell at the forces out in the wind, Hootie Hoo, so it'll bring spring a whole lot faster. And apparently in our area, there is a church that does that. They all gather at noon just to go out and yell Hootie Hoo at the weather. Oh, that's kind of funny if you ask me. But that's kind of what I've been doing lately. Been working on sewing a couple of things. Let me get that bag. This is a prototype. Something I've been thinking about for quite some time. And this is my bag because it has mistakes. But this is basically this bag. And then it becomes a drawstring bag as well. You could use it as a purse. You could use it for your, you know, knitting, your crochet. But like I said, it is a prototype. I decided that I think this needs to be up a little higher, closer to this edge. I put it down almost 2 inches down below. And I don't like it that low, so I'm going to move it up. And I was thinking about maybe a pocket on the outside or the inside, but that is the prototype that I have been working on for some newer bags Not real sure I like it. Been also working on some divider bags. You know, and think I'm ready to start on a new round of phone pouches, or what I call small craft fair bags, where you can put your phone in there and some cards and some cash. You know, go to the craft fairs. Because lately, every time I get a batch done, I have someone ask me, well, do you have a batch done? I say, yeah, so I show them, you know, the ones, and they're like, well, I want this one, and this one, and my girlfriend wants that, and they're sold before I have a chance to put them up on the Etsy shop, so, which that's fine. But I would like to get them up onto the Etsy shop as well. Don't know if that will happen, but I would like to eventually. I have been working on a few more of the what I call the Bible purses, but they've got pockets on them, pocket for change or whatever you want to slip down into it. And then 2 pockets where you can put your pens and things, and then a zippered pocket where you can put in whatever else you want in there, or your cell phone. Because generally I do not like carrying a purse to church. Many times I'll put the purse in my car and hide it well. But I don't like carrying my purse around like that anyway, because normally after church I don't do anything. And my tithing, generally, you know, I tithe that first of the month, with the exception of what I earn off of Etsy or selling different things. And that I actually just drop in change into the church basket. Call it change. Not really change. It's a tithe off of what I've made, but you know. So, yeah, it's just been an interesting week this week. Don't feel like I have much time to get much done. With our Awana group, it's going really well, but some of us have noticed a lot of the kids, some of the kids memorize the verses and they keep them in their heart. They can remember them later on, that kind of thing. But some of the kids just memorize it for the night, I guess is the best way to explain it. And they don't take it to heart. They don't understand it. We have a little boy in our group that his best friend, now remember these are second graders, his best friend led him to Christ, but he doesn't think he's going to heaven because everything he does is bad. So you can see we've got our hands full with this little guy, teaching him the difference between sin and forgiveness and that kind of thing. I did ask him the other day when I saw him if he prayed, and he said, no, I don't pray. And I said, well, maybe that's something we all should work on. And he, you know, he's agreeable to it. He's eager. We have another young man that they don't read, so we have to talk the verse to him, read it to him several times, and he does pick it up quick because he's really bright. So he'll within a few minutes be able to recite back exactly what you have said to him. But he doesn't know how to read, doesn't understand that. And so some of us, we're taking a little bit of extra time with him, trying to teach him to read. And he is a much older young man. He should be probably in the 5th to 6th grade. But he also has a younger brother and sister that are in the group too, and they do not read either. So we've been working with them, trying to teach them all to read so that they can read these words on their own. And that kind of makes it hard because when they're at home, they are not learning the verses so that it gets into their heart and to where they can understand it. And so we have to take some time to explain how the verse works and, kind of what it means in the whole realm in a childish sense. Not too deep, but still to where they get the meaning of the verse. And, sometimes in the Bible, some of those words are big, like the word accordance and all that kind of thing. So yeah, we're just, our group we've decided to try to get together and to do some mental, work through some mental ideas that we think will help everyone. We think that we're seeing that a lot of these kids are just interested in getting the awards, with the awards being, the different jewels that go on a wing or different patches, and then the ice cream party at the end. And that's really hard and difficult for some of these kids, so trying to do some brainstorming together. Along with praying for the little ones and praying for us too as well, for helping to bring these children into where they know what's going on. And of course there are 3 teachers in our group. And I'm not a teacher. I have never taught children. So, I feel kind of a little bit unaware of what needs to be done with the kids to help them to learn these things and to put them, to memory, to be able to remember them more. And let me tell you, these kids, they just crack me up. I mean, they're all pretty bright, but this week they had played a game where they had to run through a maze. There was a ball on each side of the NPR room, and in there was a ball of said team, and the team on this side of the room had to run over through the maze, get the ball from that side of the room, bring it back and put it over here in their score area. But if you went through the maze and one of the other team members tagged you, you had to have one of your team members come and tag you to unfreeze you, because the other team could freeze you. So, and of course, I was laughing because the way they had divided the teams up, it looked like they had all of the larger kids on one side of the room and all of the smaller children on the other side. And I had said something about that. I said, well, that doesn't look very fair. You've got all the big kids against little kids. Well, you know what? The little kids did a good job. They snuck in there and got those balls, and they won most of the games. But, you know, kind of laugh about those kind of things when you see them. But, that was something that was kind of interesting. You know, to see that and see how the kids managed to play the game. And we had someone last night that they brought some rye chocolate chip cookies. Yep, made with rye flour. And they were delicious. I was surprised. And at first, when I saw them, my first thought was, oh, those are molasses cookies. No, they were not molasses cookies. They were rye chocolate chip cookies. And they were good. So, yeah, it was kind of like a lot of fun seeing the kiddos. But, yeah, those are some of the things that I have actually been working on and planning and plotting and those kind of things. Hang on a second, gotta get my trusty pattern here. Okay. So I'm ready to move on again. And I always find it interesting because when I had this pattern, I had copied and pasted it into a file, and I'm about to run out of time, so let me stop you and we'll start again. So when I copy and pasted these at the beginning, I had pasted the instructions wrong. And I was kind of laughing because I don't know if you saw Connie of Just Another Stitch when she was talking about her progress on her sweater. Well, that didn't come out right. Pick that back up and get you back on there. She had talked about copying the pattern wrong because she writes the patterns out. Which, you know, I've done that in the past too. But of course now, you know, I kind of use my computer, copy and paste and print it and then move on. But I started laughing because I got to looking at this. I'll give you an example. You cast on so many stitches for your sleeves, okay? Then, you know, first row is knit, second row is purl, third row is knit, fourth row is purl 2 together, purl to last 2 stitches, purl 2 together. And then I had copied right after that, next work a 2x2 rib pattern for approximately 1/2 inch. When I saw that, I thought, that is not right. What was missing was like repeat rows 1 through 4 till you have so many inches. Then do your rib batter. But, sometimes you catch those mistakes right away. Sometimes you don't. So I went in, corrected it, and got everything back to normal the way it should be. All hunky-dory. And, yeah, I've noticed I've done that a couple of times with a couple of patterns. Missed some of the instructions. So, and most of the time you can go back and find those patterns easily. A lot of the patterns I do are online, free. This one is online free, but it is also, I believe she also has a paid pattern that you can print out, PDF. But I kind of feel like if you've got it there free, there's no reason for me to pay for a paid pattern unless I'm just too lazy to figure it out. And of course, there are some folks that do fix their pages, their website pages, blogs, or whatever, where they've got the pattern to where you cannot print screen or you cannot copy and paste. Which, I can understand that in a way. But trust me, if I have to constantly go to your blog or your page to actually do the pattern while I'm working it, most likely I'm going to just skip right over that pattern and move on. I don't mind paying for patterns, although, like I said, I don't think they should be expensive. So, yeah. And I'm going to tell you my phone is going off because we are brainstorming with my Awana group. So that's what that is text going off back and forth, firing off comments and things like that. See? And there's another one. But anyway, that's, kind of what's going on in my life this week. My hands are so dry. Just crazy how dry they get. Have you folks moved on to something new that you're working on this week? Are you still working on some of the same things? And I will tell you, I went back. I still have the blanket that I made with the blues and the gentle white, that big, beautiful, lacy one. I still have that because Sleep in Heavenly Peace doesn't want the handmade, larger ones. So I put that back to decide what to do with it. And it will go to the love blankets instead. Just because. And I can understand why Sleep in Heavenly Peace wants to have, those nicer duvets and things like that. I did ask if they would accept queen size quilts, and those they're fine with. So I might pull some of the quilt tops that I have out in the garage. I told you the story about my grandmother with the quilt tops. She had made like 100 and something, a lot of pieces, quilt tops, and never quilted them. She usually took those to her next door neighbor and had them quilt them. And so, those are still there to be quilted. So I think I will put those together with a backing and then do the quilting and then send those on to Sleep in Heavenly Peace. I know Nana would be thrilled that those were going out there. And I always test the fabric to make sure it's not got dry rot. If you've kept the fabric in a certain way, it doesn't do that. So it's been stored well, taken well care of. And of course, I've got a lot of scraps around here that I could certainly turn into a quilt easily. It's just getting the motivation to get back there and get that done. You know? In between everything I'm doing. I have a friend that tells me if I were to actually, instead of in the evening, sit, read, knit, crochet, I could probably get a lot of quilting done. Yeah, she's right. But then again, I never get any crochet or you know, like this, the knitting that I need to get done. So, yeah, there's that. And I kind of have to laugh with the way that President Trump is trolling so many people. You know, I had someone say that they're pretty petty, but Trump is on a top level petty, you know, because he hung his mugshot outside the Oval Office on the wall there, and which I find funny. And I think, what was it, Wednesday? He had posted that AI picture of him with the crown on his head. I don't know what he posted, something about king. And he's trolling the left, he really is. Because they keep claiming he's a dictator. We don't have a king, we don't have a monarchy. So he is just trolling them. And I find that funny. And I always find it interesting that people, you know, they always talk about how crude he is and everything else and all that. Folks, he's a New Yorker. Came from New York. What do you expect? Almost every New Yorker I know is just about like that. So I just find it funny. Oh, and then I've been seeing, what was it, you know, the whole thing about the Social Security numbers and, you know, all those 21 million over the possible age of human survivability might possibly be getting checks because they're still listed as live. And I think I have quite a few very, very staunch Democrat friends who've been posting the little meme about, well, when a person dies, funeral directors fill out a form, send it Social Security. Well, yeah, you did your job, but there's no saying that the person at Social Security did their job to change that person to unalived. So, I don't know, I just find it interesting. And I was reading somewhere where was it Colorado State? One of the state Congress people wants to take tax dollars to fund legal fees for illegals. I'm like, oh my God, you guys gotta be kidding. But, and this is something that I just find interesting. So many people raising a big stink. I think in Philadelphia, at one of the raids this week, someone had set one of the vans on fire, one of the ice vans on fire. Pretty sure that wasn't a Trump supporter. And I'm kind of hoping all the cameras catch them. But, and people raising a whole stink and ruckus about this whole thing, which, you know, you gotta wonder, this administration is using all of the arrest warrants and also deportation arrest warrants for all of the illegals that Biden had on a list, but Biden people said they couldn't find them. And these were people that had some pretty serious crimes. You know, they're wanted for murder in their own home country, or they've already murdered someone in the U.S. Were found convicted and escaped going to jail because they took off and went to one of those sanctuary cities, or, you know, one of these cities that doesn't want to let you know where they're hiding. Stop protecting the absolute criminals. I mean, these are people that are wanted for some pretty serious crimes. You know, sexual assault against a child, women, men, murder, setting people on fire. You know, not stuff you'd want your neighbor living next door to you to have access to your home, free access. So yeah, just find that interesting that they fail to understand that. But seriously, I am having the biggest giggle at Trump and how he is trolling those on the left. And they just even roll harder. And I think I saw, what was it? They started an investigation on some of the threats against some of the federal workers. One of those being Chuck Schumer. It's criminal to do that. So, you know, you got to be careful what you say and do. And then I had read a story about one of the Tesla dealers. It's like, I think, the third time that someone has broke the window or done vandalism to the dealership. And this time they broke the windows out and put a note on it, on the door, that said, "Unalive Elon Musk." And that's a crime too, that's a threat. But seriously, people, do you think he even knows anyone in that dealership? Do you think he's ever been to that dealership? No. He's just the CEO of this company. He hires people to do a job, and they do their job. And that's how they make their income. And it's sad that folks just can't realize it. And of course, These are not people that support Trump that are doing this. So I think you guys need to get a grip, but you know, that's beside the point. And I do have a laugh. They have a, February the 28th. They want you to boycott people. You know, let me pull it up so I can read it to you. February the 28th, and they are hit them in their profits. Economic blackout protest. No spending for 24 hours. Buy gas, etc. by 2/27. Not a march, and it runs on 2/28 from 12 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. your local time. How are you hitting them in their profits if you purchased everything the day before? You're not. You're not hurting them at all. You may be hurting the employees because there may be people that let them go, or send them home because there's not enough business, and then they lose out on an income for that day. But that's on you, so. Oh, yeah. And your next protest would be March the 7th through the 14th. U.S. and world oligarch #1 protest Amazon. No buying from Amazon for 1 week. Not a march. Do that. The rest of us will go shopping. And then, of course, March the 14th, national strike. No work for 24 hours. All workers, all businesses, and all higher education organizations. Not a march. 3/14, 12 a.m. to 11:59 local time. What do you want to bet if you don't show up for work? Either you get sanctioned somehow at work, or they just decide to let you go, especially if they know about the protest. There are plenty of people who want a job, and if you can't show up for work, that is sad. But, sometimes you can't make sense of some of these protests because they don't really do anything. I could see if you didn't buy from Amazon ever again, but we know they'll go buy from Amazon again eventually. So, or they'll buy before, so they have everything that they want or need. But then again, there's a part of me that says, well, if you're not going to buy from Amazon during that week, that might be a good time to support your local merchants. Your small town businesses might be a good idea. Or better yet, take the money that you would have spent and maybe feed the hungry. Or maybe give it to someone that is homeless, so they can improve their tent or whatever they're living in. There are a lot of ways to protest that I think would be a better protest. Instead of these economic ones, they want to try to hit you in your pocketbook. But, what do I know? And like I said, I don't see how you're really going to hurt someone. In their pocketbook if you just change the day you purchased items on. Maybe if you really want to hurt them in their pocketbook, don't buy anything at all from them ever again. Find somewhere else to shop. But you can't make these kind of things up. You know, and sometimes I don't think they think about their actions. They don't think they're not very well thought out, so, you know. And I had to laugh the other day when I was watching the video of the interpretive dance that they had done in protest at the Kennedy Center. And quite a few of the comments that I read talked about how to them it looked like that they were trying to tell people that they were constipated. You know, and I have to admit when I was watching the interpretive dance, I was like, I don't know, it looks like you're sort of doing the chicken dance. Only it's not really, you know, the hands and flapping like the wings, but it does look like you're, you know, bending over and crying. So, I don't know. But then again, seeing the wages that those people that are on the board of the Kennedy Center were making, are you kidding me? Goodness gracious. And I doubt they meet more than 4 times a year. That's a nice paycheck. So, I have a lot of things around here that just seem nutso lately. But should be interesting, you know, and I do think it's interesting all these people raising a stink about Musk contracts. He's had those contracts for years, folks. And there's a reason you want them. I know I, for one, wouldn't want Starshield to go down. It's one of our missile defense and communications for the military and all kinds of our government stuff that we don't get to see or hear about, but I wouldn't want Starshield to go down. So, yeah. But then a lot of people don't bother to go and do some of the research to find out the different things that our government does and the different contracts that they use and why they have them. And it's really not that hard. You know, there are a lot of search engines out there. So, you know, use them. I mean, we're too easy to go and put in for a search engine for a free crochet pattern of, say, an amigurumi, you know, frog or whatever like that, but we won't research anything else beyond that, so. Which sometimes I think our information age and all of our technology gets lost on people every day. They don't realize that there is a wealth of knowledge at their fingertips. But I will say this. If the House and Senate pass Lindsey Graham's Senate budget proposal, there should be a total uprising. Because I'm sorry, we shouldn't be funding the Ukraine till 2030. Why would we be funding a war for 5 more years? That's basically what it's calling for. You know, and the European countries have already talked about they've easily come up with about $720 billion for the Ukraine, but no one bothered. And in fact, no one there tried to even do peace talks, So yeah, I got a little problem with that kind of stuff. Alright folks, I have yammered on enough, so I am going to let you go. Everybody have a great weekend. And remember, do something kind today. Everybody have a great day. Bye. I'm going to finish my row here and then turn you guys off. See you guys soon.